Welcome to Rooted Resilience, where we explore narratives of current and contemporary Two-Spirit LGBTQIA+ creatives living on colonized Nipmuc, Nonotuck, and Pecumtuck land known as Western Massachusetts. I'm Luke, your host for this week's episode. Every second Tuesday of the month, we gather here to listen to multi-talented culture creators with curiosity, intention, and a little bit of magic.
That's just ideology, and I was just so angry that that's what's happening, and these rhetorics are growing and people are buying it. So I was like, no. we have to work against that. We have to do some art. So I was working with my friends, collaborators in Norway. We were doing similar type of theater on the street, in front of embassies.
On today's episode, you'll hear from Karol Matuszak, an actor and performer of Polish origin currently living in Ashfield. His journey in theater has taken him from the Copenhagen International School of Performing Arts in Denmark to Fredrikstad, Norway, to join the BA acting program at the Norwegian Theatre Academy. During his time at NTA, Karol first connected with Double Edge Theatre, and since then he has participated in several intensives and exchange programs in Ashfield. In May 2024, Karol officially joined the company of Double Edge Theatre, where, in addition to performing, he works as an outreach associate. Karol's love of stories shines through in this interview as he takes us down the intersecting roads of his personal and professional life, coming out, life as an immigrant with deep ties to his homeland, and his current creative work, Rainbow Exodus.
Where am I? I am always very fueled by whatever's happening in the world, and particularly in my homeland, because you have this special relationship with your country. We just had election in Poland, just like we just had them here, and it was a little worrying election for me, because it didn't go as I wished it would go. I'm an immigrant in the United States, so I'm affected by this results. And first day was really hard, because I really, really believed. I believed the last months. I was quite calm. I was like, we're going in good direction, and we're going to have a new president, and they're going to push finally the things that I hope for, like legislation against hate speech and, the civil relationships. If it's not yet marriage equality, it's a step towards. Right now, I don't think we can even hope for that. So it breaks my heart. I wish that for myself. I wish that for the community. I wish that for young folks, especially when I think about my nephews, my nieces. I wish they would live in a country that already supports and allows life that is full and free and beautiful for everyone. That's not the case. I realized how the day number one was like, I couldn't find myself a space. I also found myself pretty much a few days after, like, already strategizing. Okay, that's fine. That's just what it is. Like, but how are we working with that now? And and I have ideas, and my head and my heart is full, and I luckily, gathered myself, and I feel this energy again. And so I'm feeling motivated again, yet that's where I am. It's a lot. And but that's the work we have to do. And that's what we also doing, I believe. And it's so important.
Karol's work revolves around his commitment to activism through performance and the strength of emotion that fuels his creativity. His work may speak to his own experiences in many ways, but he is always making room for the stories and experiences of others to enter into the mix and spark dialogue and debate.
Just a few years ago, also with the previous government we had in Poland, I was just boiling inside because, there was a lot of hateful rhetorics, words coming from the president, the church hierarchs, very important people. And I was like, how is that possible? Even a few years back when I was there, all these queer gay topics, they were like taboo, but now it's like the guy basically saying like LGBT people are not people, that's just ideology, and I was just so angry that that's what's happening, and these rhetorics are growing and people are buying it. And so I was like, no, we have to work against that. We have to do some art. So, well, I was working with my friends, collaborators in Norway. We were doing similar type of theater on the street, in front of embassies. We would. I was part of this project of my friend. It's called Direct Action Theater, and also very action-based theater where, for example, after this very hateful words from the president and from the Archbishop of Krakow and similar figures, we were like, okay, let's go. We're doing an action in front of the Polish embassy. We had a projector. We projected a rainbow flag all on the embassy. We had our costumes we were working with, which was this armory, heavy, kind of big, muscular costumes, a bit like they have in, not even an army, but when they fight on the street and they have shields, yes, and the bats, So what we were trying to do, we were trying to actually bring different qualities to this very heavy costume. So we were working with more feminine qualities, or I don't know, with two bodies, two men, for example, kissing each other, being under the flag, or doing something together, dancing. So we were doing all these actions on the street, and actually, this picture that we took with the embassy in rainbow colors, Polish embassy in Oslo, and us two also holding like like a hanger for clothes, because it's a symbol of also women's rights, which are also under attack in Poland. So we connected those two things. This image actually went viral. I don't even know how. I just posted it. I wrote a little poem, to be a soldier of love, and just a little something. I posted it and I checked it later, and I was like, oh, it was shared. It was shared so many times. It was just like 500 or something likes. It was really, and then I realized that it was really shared in a lot of groups, either for like Poles abroad, or like Polish women, or LGBTQ groups, and so on. And people really appreciated it. People were like, oh, that's so good, like that's what we need. And that's why when I was coming here, an idea of something similar was with me. I was like, okay, I want to do something similar. We need more actions on the street. We need this relationship with people, because people are walking from work, or they go to the supermarket, and then suddenly they see, and it was all, it was in Norwegian press and other spaces. So it got its attention, and definitely this kind of support was coming from Norway to a community in Poland very early.
This first piece of direct action theater laid the groundwork for the birth and evolution of Rainbow Exodus, Karol's first solo performance. He shares more about how his relationship with his now husband, Travis Coe, and his immersion into the world of Double Edge has helped to clarify the shape and direction of this creative piece.
Yes. So doing this piece, I came here to Ashfield, to Western Mass in 2021, and it was middle of COVID. It was really hard to go anywhere. We were a little bit grounded by the university. They didn't want to let us go anywhere. Yet I had a already existing relationship with Double Edge Theater, and I definitely loved the way of theater trains. It had this Polish tradition, very physical, so it worked for me very well. Mostly also operate like movement as the primary way of expressing and language. And then also I had a parallel to this. I had my romantic relationship growing. So I really, really wanted to come. And eventually it happened in 2021. In the summer, I was allowed to come. So I came for 6 months. And first I was immersed in just a summer spectacle, which in Double Edge, it's a famous thing that happens every summer. And it's very kind of like a signature Double Edge performance, which is outdoor, indoor, a kind of a walking journey experience. I loved it. It was very immersive. It was different than what I was doing at school, more traditional, even though we were not that traditional, we were more experimental theater. So when I was coming here, I was working with a couple of people from the company, mentoring me. With Carlos Uriona, I was actually working on this kind of street piece. Carlos also he's from Argentina. That's his background. Also, a puppet theater, performing on the streets. Carlos definitely also supported, my political side and my fire coming from it. So so we were working on that, and that piece got name originally Rainbow Bench, which eventually we decided that we're gonna call it Rainbow Table, because it is more of a table. Actually, it's a suitcase, which is foldable, and it can become a table. And actually, that was a little similar, because it was also a podcast or audio recordings where I would be appearing in different public spaces. I would be, making my actions, either folding out the table or putting something on, inviting people to sit with me. And then there were headphones, and there were different stories. There were maybe 3-4 stories from my personal life that I shared with people. But then also Travis, who's my husband now, he's a director also. And he was like, okay, you want to do this piece, but I also think you should do an indoor performance. Or, we should train and we should see.
As his work with this creative piece moved from the street to an indoor performance, Karol was faced with new challenges and questions. His creative process returned to the roots of stories from his own life, and then the lives of others.
So that's what we did. We went to the space. Travis sat down as in his director chair. I went on the floor, and we started doing, which was a lot of frustration in the beginning. It was my first solo performance. Of course, I had some sort of solo individual works back at school, or just in my experience. But But hey, I mean, here I was just like, what am I doing? Where am I starting? You know, it's just me, training, space, nothing. I brought some music, I brought some elements. But then we started to do it day after day and day after day, and Travis watching me and me coming back. And situations would appear and appear again. And what I found out again is, and coming back to what I said before, is that the same stories come back. That I'm talking about what's sitting here. You know, I'm talking about something that hurt me a couple of years ago. Or I'm talking the beautiful story of for example, relationship with my dad, or I'm talking about my first love that was this either a hallucination or real, but not for the other person, because they leave. It is what it is. And, you know, I will never really perhaps know exactly, but there is, what I'm trying to say is there's still plenty of people that live the life that maybe they think they have to live because of the society, because of the push of expectation. We have to fulfill something. So yeah, that's a little bit of my love story that I shared in this piece. I mean, I'm recalling this lover, this person, but is it really that I'm speaking to this person, or am I speaking to myself back from these years, you know, when I was still in the closet, when I was still fighting with a lot of things, which were also on that journey of liberation and journey of understanding yourself and journey of acceptance and self-love. It's a story of my life. It's a story of my life, and also I believe of many people. Story of rainbow exodus, story of rainbow migration, of us moving from place to place in search for home, people, good people, liberation, oneself. But we're also trying to draw from, together with Travis, draw from lives and stories of other queer folks. Which in that particular example is mostly from Polish artists, writers, poets, or people just, you know, of different fields. And yeah, so again, and I think the need for it all kind of came together, because I was like, also because there is no history, and it's similar, like here's maybe a little bit better, but everywhere is not really good yet. So yeah, in terms of it, just in order to honor these people, give them names, give the space they deserve, for their love, for their identity, who they were for real, not for what historians wanted to tell us about them, that maybe they had a lot of men friends, or, you know, they like this or that, or like, no, that's not it. So yeah, so, you know, that was a fuel back then, and that was 2022.
This podcast is part of the Rooted Resilience Project, made possible through the generosity of these supporters and sponsors. Lemon Bakery, a queer and trans-owned bakery in Amherst, Massachusetts, run by Rory Hansen, providing homemade, locally sourced, seasonal baked goods with curbside pickup and delivery service. Mass Humanities and the Mass Cultural Council, supporters of the Rooted Resilience Project. through the Expand Massachusetts Stories program. And Bombyx Center for Arts and Equity, a world-class performing arts space in Florence, Massachusetts, home to music, film, theater, dance, and memorable community gatherings. Visit bombyx.live/events to learn more about free events for creatives and funding applicants in the region. Thanks again to each of our sponsors. To learn more about becoming a sponsor, visit rootedresilience.substack.com/sponsors. Back to our show. In 2025, Karol's work with Rainbow Exodus continues to evolve as he works to create resonance with audiences and embodies his work as his protest and dance.
And now we are going to do this performance again, which is going to be next year, which I'm very, very happy about. I love this piece. It's beautiful because of all the elements that are in it, but also I think the arc is really like we try to make it so it resonates with many, and it's my protest, it's my dance, it's my me trying myself in different versions of myself, me being a kid again, me, connecting to those different characters from different times of history. So I'm very, very happy we're going to be doing it. Again, as you say, it is very present. And yeah, I wish, the piece could live along and we could share it in the more places, especially like that's my desire, go to places that need it more conservative places, smaller towns. But let's see what's going to be possible. Touring is also not the easiest and the cheapest, as I am hearing from my older, more experienced colleagues. So let's see. But would love to invite you again, and whoever is listening to us, maybe March or April 2026. Oh, 2026. In Ashfield. So very happy about that. We are going to rework it a little bit and perhaps get to maybe this final version. Yeah. So that's to come. We also try to dig, especially in terms of the history of Poland, the story of gay people, queer people from the Second World War, from even before. Not only artists, but like professors and a lot of people is doing amazing work. This professor from University of Warsaw, she's a writer also. She wrote a book which is called, I think, They or Them, homosexuals during Second World War, and it's a collection of a lot of different stories, mostly of men and women that were sent to Auschwitz, and Pink Triangle, of course, stories. So we were drawing from that also, and from other publications and stories of lives of different artists.
Central to Karol's story is his journey of coming into the fullness of his identity, or as some might say, coming out. Like many, it wasn't a moment in time where it was all fully known and declared, but rather an iterative process that came with many small steps. His creative work was a significant part of his process.
Doing this piece, this theme of the piece, so personal, and being also where I am today, I almost couldn't imagine or believe that that's what I'm going to be doing just a few years ago. And even though I was an outed man, living a liberated, happy life in Scandinavia, which was my first place where I first migrated, I wasn't out to my family, to my community in Poland, so I still pretty much lived the life in the shadow of myself. Or I would be completely free and open in Scandinavia among my community there, and then I would be coming back and I would be the version of myself from back then. Most of my teachers, I went to 2 schools, and since I started my journey, my adventure with acting theater again, a lot of teachers of mine were like, pushing me, encouraging me, like, of course we know you have to do it on your terms, but they were encouraging me to come out. They said it's going to be very important point in my life, and it will help me, and it will also help me in art and in expressing myself and acting and creating. But I needed to get to this moment myself, and it took me a bit of time. I don't know what really came together. Or maybe I know the time passed and I was more independent, and more and more people were sort of standing behind me, and I felt the support. So eventually I came to this very important point in my life. And together with that coming out, which I believe was the most important coming out, which I believe for perhaps, I don't know, how was it for you, but like talking with many friends of mine, like the parents are always parents, is the closest circle, and I was the most terrified to come out to my parents, to my closest family. So doing that and receiving a support really anchored me and helped me with everything, but also on this track of my art. It really sort of convinced me, and I was sure that that's also what I want to do. I mean, because I truly just really believe that, like, we need representation, we need visibility, and those things are so crucial on a daily life, because we didn't have that. I had so little representation of, queer people. Maybe one, maybe very, you could count it on one hand. And I found myself, I'm in a different place, and that was also that was a thing that I said, and I don't think it's too lofty or too, like, for me, that's thing that I said when there was a question, why do you want to go to this school?
Karol returns to sharing more about life before Rainbow Exodus. Here, he'll talk about why he wanted to study theater in a different country and how it led to where he is now.
When I was first getting to my theater school, I was talking actually about, being this representation for someone, for the younger folks that I didn't have, and I wish them to have the experience, the stories, the voice, the body, to be there for others, because I found myself in a stronger place I built myself up back. I decided to move out. I found some sort of economic freedom. I mean, I was able to sustain myself, which was a huge part for me. I was like, I have to, because you don't know what's going to happen. I have to like have some sort of money, I have to deal with myself. So yeah, at this point, when already I was 20 something, and I was like, yeah, I mean, and I have a chance to get to the school, and I got to the school, and actually I received so much love and beauty from people, from my teachers, and that was only pushing me forward. And it was really giving me wings. So I started to do more and more of that, especially also with a fantastic school, which is closing down, which is happening to the arts all around, which is heartbreaking, but that's what it is. We also have to work with that, and we have to find different ways how to educate people, how to make things like this possible for people. I'm so happy that I was privileged to go to this school, and I got so much love and, as I'm saying, wings from my teachers, that they were like pushing me in that direction. And I was, on the way, also discovering, finding out that gives me so much energy and uplift. And when I'm sharing those stories, and pretty much I think a lot of actors do, or artists, in the more disciplines, because we deal with a lot of personal stuff. Usually I'm referring all the time either to the relationships with my parents or my partners or my siblings, or situations that hurt me or that elevated me or that meant something in my life. And I find it so important to share those stories, because again, like our experiences, which are also so diverse, right? Because it's not one to one. Are still not they're like available for everyone. They are better and worse, like access, and also like amount of this type of works that artists are doing. There is still need for more. And so that gives me so much fulfillment. I don't know if it's a good word, but it really brings me a lot of fire to do this work, to share the stories, and to attempt to this way bring some sort of support to folks, connect with people this way.
For a moment, Karol takes us even further back into his life and opens the door to another aspect of his identity, his relationship to religion and God. Something that is hard for people in the queer community to speak about, but something that has clearly shaped Karol's approach to how he lives his life, just perhaps not the way the church would hope for.
I'm coming from very conservative family, from, I would say, quite conservative town, small town in Poland. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I was an altar boy. I was a Catholic scout. So this church was a huge part of my life forever. And spirituality too, because when I was growing up, that was also a pretty confusing thing for me, because in a way my spirituality was big, and it was important for me, the connection with the higher, with a God, or with something above us. It was very important for me. And then there was this other identity which I was like, oh, wait a second. Everyone's telling I should have a girlfriend. I was, like, yeah, I like boys, and then also pretty much, I mean, I was pretty happy and proud about it. I was, it's not that I had identity crisis, not at all. I was like, I know what I am, and I'm happy about it. Wait a second, but I live in this place which people are not okay about it. So what am I doing? So that pushed me away. That made me relocate. And frankly saying, it's not that I would confess that when I was moving out when I was 19. I was going to study in Scandinavia. It was nothing about my gayness or, no. But it was. Now I can say that because I think I was already strategizing about my life and my survival since I was a kid. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, so when did you discover?" And I don't even know. It's a difficult question because, like, when do you start? Like kids, we don't think about attraction or something. We eventually we're like, "Oh, but here I'm getting a stomach butterfly." And I'm just because I'm swinging next to this guy. Weird, but I mean, I'm not intellectualizing it or like, trying to figure out like, oh. And then at one point you're like, which in my case was like falling in love. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I know now. I know, I'm sure. But this church, and this crisis, because it's also like, it's not that I didn't want to be part of church. I just felt that there is no space there for me. So it was crisis for me because I was like, I can be I can be a good boy. I can be a good church member if you want me to, but you don't want me to. So yeah. So I decided to talk about church, and also because I think it's so interesting in a story of gay people and their identity and their spirituality. I mean, there is a phenomena of there is a lot of queer people in church, and I just think it's interesting because I don't know if I wouldn't be born 100 years before if that would be my path. For years this institution was a sort of refuge for queer people because there was either mostly men or mostly women, and I don't know, there is a certain sensitivity, so yeah, it was just very present in my life.
We ask Karol what he hopes Rainbow Exodus will bring to audiences.
I wish to share with people myself and my weirdness and my uniqueness and things that are maybe come out as something for people. I don't know. I want people to know that it's okay that they are who they are. I don't even know because I like an example from the piece. I'm playing with dolls in the piece, and it's something which, like, I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I like my girlfriends. I had my girlfriend. Her name was Monica, and she loved her Barbies. And I don't even know that it was not so much for me like that. I don't know that I love the dolls. I don't know if I like them. I like to play with her, and I like to play home. And that was it for me. And we were sitting and playing and being ourselves, and gender was not important there. Nobody was asking, nobody was, it's like, so coming back to a kid version of myself is definitely something beautiful in the piece, and that's what I want to share. I think we should share and come back more to our inner children, our inner kids, and so much beauty in there. And also children, as I notice, children are just so like this. Children don't have politics in their mind. Children are natural, organic. We play. We, I mean, also kids can be mean and can be a lot and everything. But what I'm trying to say, later we grow up and then we get a politics in our system, and we get convinced that that's what we are, or that's what we are, or if we don't know what we are, then we're so confused and we're scared and we're like, let me just know what am I, because otherwise it will be horrible. So but I don't know what am I. So it's okay to figure these things out, and it's okay to say that to children. And so I'm sharing myself. I hope that people, by witnessing me and my story and what I'm trying to share, will find some hope and maybe recognize themselves in certain elements, or like a relationship, or because that's I'm sharing my identity, or my how I was growing and what I like to do and so on. But I am also bringing there like different conversations, more like difficult moments, or I am talking about church. So yeah, so that was a lot of different themes in my in Rainbow Exodus. Yeah, yeah, answering to this different also parts of myself that were crying, like screaming to talk to them, and yeah, and it's luckily we have art, because as I'm saying, that's also a little bit different when I'm posting something which is my opinion, when I'm going out there and like, okay, this is what I'm telling you, this is what I believe. It can be harsh for some people, but in art, everything is a little bit different, and I hope it can also get to more people, because it's art.
As we near the end of our conversations, we always ask our guests what they would want to share with other creatives. So we offer this same question to Karol, and true to form, the answer comes with a story.
I would say keep doing and believe in yourself, and even when you hear something which discourage you or is hurtful, don't mind it much. You just trust yourself, and you know what you're doing. And if you're honest and you want to share, that will always transcend with people. And even having one person in the audience that will this piece will matter, or like whatever you do will matter, that's it. So don't worry, you don't have to go after the crowd or whatever. It's those moments of beauty that for me like are the best pay. Sometimes like I did this workshop in my school a couple of years ago. I think my not head teacher, but like main teacher invited me, and she was actually one who pushed me a little bit towards theater. So I went to my old school, I organized some workshop and so on, and it was fun, but it was just like mostly I made some acting games and connecting and simple things. But recently, a year ago or something, I was in my town in Łowicz, and I was buying flowers for my mom for, I think, Mother's Day or something, and the girl working in the flower shop, she was like, "Oh, that's you," and I was like, I didn't remember her, but also because it was a big group, so much. And he's like, yeah, you made this workshop for us some time ago, and like that's opened my eyes, and it really like brought so much to my life. And I was so happy because even this, think like theater training, which is so much about connecting, being in your body, being truthful, and so on. In places like this, in Catholic school that has its rules and has its sort of, there is certain atmosphere. Yeah, I believe that was so nice that I went and I shared it with them, and I was so happy that it meant something for someone, that someone remembered me, that it, excuse me, that it was something elevating them. But again, speaking to whoever is doing similar things, believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing, and I'm telling you, it's so important, and it might save someone's life. It might help someone so much that you're not even aware, you wouldn't even expect. So please do it. We need that. We need each other. We need to support each other. We need to talk more, think together, dream together. And I think that's absolutely our work.
And of course, our signature question is also shared with Karol. What does rooted resilience mean to him?
This is one of these questions that I like. I was like, let me think a little bit about that. But rooted resilience, I thought first about rooted. I thought about roots. I thought about about depth, how deep they going. So I thought about depth of our work, of our resilience. I thought about how many roots it must have, how many roots it must have. It must go deep. It must be constant. It must grow regularly. It needs water. It needs food. But it's also so connected with other roots, with the whole forest. So that's what I think about rooted resilience. And resilience, of course, yeah, we need to be resilient. We need to stand up for ourselves. We need to fight, but we also need to live and just be ourselves and make our dreams come true. And sometimes don't worry, just live, just be. Yeah, but the politics and the world right now is in uncertain place, and more than any time, or like it's a little bit like broad, but I really believe we need rooted resilience right now. We need each other, and we need to think about those things. And we especially about community. Those sometimes aspects of work that escape for some people, and that's also okay. It was escaping to me, I think, for some time also when I lived more in the city, like different things. But like I here, maybe in Ashfield also, I learned in Double Edge meaning of community and importance, and like importance of taking care of it and taking care of community, supporting each other, being for each other, speaking up. Yeah, like so important to even have sometimes one person. We need to be brave. We need to show up for each other. Sometimes maybe someone needs our help. And 1 + 1, it's already not 1, it's already 2. And 1 + 2, it's 3. And slowly, more we are in groups, more we support each other, we are stronger. So that's also my message.
And if you are still uncertain about standing in the wholeness of your identity, here's one more message from Karol.
And, just the story I was about to say about what comes out good of this. Sometimes the results that don't satisfy us are not like what we wish them to be. After election, it was before the second round, I wrote something on, again, something political on my Facebook. And my friend wrote to me. First, we were talking, from childhood, from very early age. First, we were talking. I mean, we didn't have contact in many, many years. But maybe in the last year, we talked once or twice on very vague topics, very general. And now we started talking a little bit on whatever I wrote about, political situation. We talked, and in the middle of conversation, he came out to me. And I was like, that's so nice. Thank you for sharing that with me. And on the other hand, so sad that we couldn't do it for each other 15 years ago when we really needed. Because now, now we are grown-ups. Now we're 31, 30. He's like 1 year younger than me. So, of course, it's important and it's a huge value. But we really needed it back then, especially living in small town like this. Maybe, no, I didn't even know that he might be gay, but I don't remember what I felt back then. But what I feel right now is like, that's a huge help already having someone, So yeah, with that thought, I definitely encourage everyone. And I'm saying, like, I wasn't even there just a few years ago. I wouldn't even think I'm going to be doing works like this. Also that I'm, I didn't expect that the relationship with my family, my biggest coming out, and now our relationships will be good as they are, will be so beautiful. I have so many beautiful stories. And now our families visit each other. They know each other. We're a family. So like, that's the dreams that the little me was dreaming about, and they are actually true. So that's beautiful for people to know that dreams can get true. And yeah, this is important to believe in your dreams and be true to yourself, not to live the life that someone else wants you to live.
Thank you for listening. If something resonated with you, we'd love to hear about it. You can email the show hosts at rootedresiliencepod@gmail.com or leave us a review on your favorite podcast streaming platform. We invite you to dig deeper into Karol's work on our blog, where you can view all of our episodes, extended show notes, and bonus content curated by our guests. Visit rootedresilience.substack.com. Until next time, root deeply and keep rising in resilience. Rooted Resilience is a grant and community-funded project, and we still have a way to go in meeting our goal to fund our first season. So, if you are passionate about supporting LGBTQIA+ creative futures through preservation of our histories, please visit givebutter.com/rooted-resilience to make a donation. All dollar amounts are vital and appreciated. Thank you for centering these creatives with us. This work is more important and meaningful than ever as we face even steeper challenges in preserving our history.